If you want to have complete control on ERP Next installation, stay tuned till end of this video. Welcome to another video of SyncBricks. In today's video, we will do manual installation of ERP Next on Ubuntu Server. If you want to skip any section of this video, click the timeline which I have provided in the description below. ERP Next is an open source software developed by Frappe and community. Frappe Incorporation is a privately owned company which was established in 2008. ERP Next is their initiative. It is very important to understand the Frappe stack before we begin the installation. Let me show you what is there in Frappe stack. Frappe has built its own low-code application development platform. If you want to know what is low-code application development platform, I have provided the link in the description below. In low-code application platform, you can rapidly develop the application without wasting tons of time in coding. By 2024, 70% of enterprise applications will be developed using low-code platform. That's the reason it is very important to adopt to any of the innovative low-code development platform and start developing your business applications. So Frappe has provided a framework where you can develop your own application using the Frappe framework. Now let us understand what is Bench. We use Bench in two ways. Bench is an easy-to-use command line tool. So Frappe environment consists of various resources where you can deploy or launch the applications. Frappe just is admin user interface for the Frappe framework. There are various applications which are developed on Frappe framework which you can deploy on Frappe environment. In this video, I'll be specific to install the ERP Next. So there are various dependencies for ERP Next. First of all, you need to have a server. It could be a bare metal server, a VM server, a VPS, or compute cloud on any of the cloud platform, or you can have VM on any of your virtual environment. On production environment, I'm using VMware for the ERP Next installation, but at my home lab, I'm using Proxmox. If you want to know what is Proxmox, I have provided the link in the description below. You can go through it. So for my setup, I'll be using 2 virtual CPUs, 8 GB of RAM, 100 GB of drive network available to you so that you can download and install the application. Then of course the operating system. If you want to know how to install Ubuntu Server, I have provided the link in the description below. There are various prerequisites before you install the Bench or Frappe Bench. You need to have the Python, you need to have Node.js and various other tools, applications and modules. Then you need to have a database. So we'll be using MariaDB. We will make recommended configuration of MariaDB. Once this configuration is ready, we will install Frappe Bench, we will create Frappe Bench environment, then we will install the ERP Next applications, we will create a site, then we will install ERP Next application on that site, then we will run this in production environment. Once the production environment is ready, I will also guide you to install SSL Certificate on your website. In ERP Next video series on SyncBricks, I will be giving complete tutorial to configure, to customize and to implement ERP Next in your enterprise. Now we'll be doing step-by-step installation of ERP Next. I can create a VM or a Linux container on Proxmox. So I'll create a container. Ubuntu Server is ready. Here is ERP Next tutorial. Start the console here. So let me check what is IP address. I'll try to access this using PuTTY so that we can have a better control and better options here. With default configuration of Ubuntu Server, you'll not be able to access the shell remotely. We'll permit that the SSH configuration, so which is located in the SSH directory of etc, and for the file which I want to change is sshd_config, so it will be nano sshd_config, and we will be looking at, if you see here, permit root login. I'll be just removing the commit here. This one I'll be changing it here to yes, Control X to exit and yes to save. Systemctl restart sshd.service. So now the service has restarted. Now if I try to re-log in using PuTTY, so I'll be restarting the session and that's it. Now I'm able to log in here. Now as you can see, I'm logged in as root. It is not recommended to use root as a login. You can select the user which will be other than root. So let us see how to create a new user. Sudo add user Amjad, its password. So user is created. Now I'll be giving it rights. So sudo user mod -ag and sudo Amjad. So now user is now as a sudo. Now I'll be moving to su space Amjad. Now as you can see, I'm logged in as Amjad now. First of all, let us do the update and upgrade of the application. So update and upgrade has completed. It is always a good idea to reboot the server. So first of all, we will install application tools, modules and environments required for Frappe Bench and ERP Next application. Okay, I'll be showing you the guide as well. So first step is to install the git app install git. After installing git, we'll be installing Python dev. Here is apt install Python dev. Now we will be installing the Python package manager. The command is sudo apt install Python 3-pip. So we'll be using Python 3 version. ERP Next uses Redis server to make sure that the in-memory capabilities can be used. Apt install Redis server. There are various common properties that needs to be installed. So we'll be installing now apt get install software-properties-common. In latest Ubuntu 20.04, these applications are already installed. Now we'll be installing this particular library for converting HTML to PDF. So now we'll be rebooting the server to make sure that everything is okay. Now in next step, we'll be installing the MariaDB and we'll do the configuration of MariaDB as well. Sudo apt get install MariaDB server. I will recommend you to install 10.3. So we'll be installing 10.3 here. Okay, now server is installed. Now I'll be installing the client as well. The same command with client, and it says that client is already installed. I'll be installing the development files. Now we'll be doing MySQL secure installation. So MySQL _secure _ installation. Enter the current password for root, which is nothing. So set the new password. So I'll be typing yes, and here is the new password. Remove anonymous users. I must do yes. Disallow root login remotely. Remove test database. Yes, yes, and then reload privileges. Yes. MySQL-u and user will be root-password. So now we are able to log in using MySQL password. So we'll exit from here. There are some configuration that needs to be done in MySQL. So we'll be changing character set of the databases that Frappe will be creating. So we'll be going to again etc cd space MySQL. And if you see here, these are all the configuration files which are available. So we'll be going first of all to the directory called the MariaDB config-d, which is cd space mariadb.conf.d, and here we'll be locating the 50 server config. So we'll be typing nano space 50-server.cnf. This specific line here, if you see here from general, we'll be changing it to Unicode, and this was the configuration. And for the safe side, you can go to myconfig also. I'll be editing this my.conf as well. So nano my.cnf, and here at the bottom of line, I will recommend you to add this configuration here. Okay, this should be your configuration in my.conf, and usually if you do this only, this will also be fine, but for the safe side we are doing this. In Frappe, when you will be creating any site, it will automatically create the files and folders inside your site folder, and at the same time it will also create the MySQL database. So for that we need to have the MySQL native password enabled, so that your application will automatically get the access to MySQL to create the database. So we will achieve this by logging into MySQL with the user root and with the password. So here is the password. So first of all, we'll be selecting the MySQL database. So if you see here show databases, you will see here we'll be using MySQL database. So we'll be using use MySQL. Okay, now we are into MySQL database. Now we'll be updating the user privileges. So what we'll do update user, and we'll set the plugin is equal to MySQL _native _ password, and where the user is equal to root, and that's it. If you see one row matched and one changed, flush privileges, then exit, and we'll do sudo service MySQL restart. Okay, if everything is fine, if configuration is fine, it will restart, it will not give any error. So if I see the sudo server MySQL status, so you can see it's active and running right now. Now MySQL is installed and configured. Now we have to install Node.js and some of the other applications before we start Frappe Bench. Get install curl. So curl was not installed, so we have installed the curl. So we'll be installing Node.js using Node version manager. So for that, I have provided you the command here. We'll be copying the command, paste it here. So it has copied I'm cloning into root NVM. That's it. Now I will recommend you to close this terminal and open the terminal again. So I'll be exiting. We will now install Node.js using NVM. So NVM install 14, so which will be Node version manager 14. So we'll wait for this to complete. Okay, this is installed. Now we'll be installing the yarn using npm. So we'll be doing npm -install -g and yarn. Just wait for this to complete. Okay, you can see that one package has already added. You are now 100% ready to start installing Frappe bench. So we'll be installing Frappe bench, which will install the command line tool for the Frappe, and then we'll install the Frappe environment. Using Python package manager 3, which is pip3, we'll install Frappe bench. Just wait for this command to complete. So if we see bench, so you can see bench is command line interface is ready here. So all these different commands are available here, but we'll be first using bench init. It will initialize the new bench instance. So bench init, which will be creating new bench init instance, and what will be that bench? Frappe-bench. But if I stop here and enter the command, what it will do, it will install the latest version, which is version 14. And I'm not going to install version 14 because this is not stable. So here is the releases. You can see here, this is the stable release. So it means version 13 is the stable release. So I'll be using the branch command here. Frappe-branch and version -13. Depending upon your internet bandwidth and server speed, it will download the files. So what it has done, if I show you in WinSCP, so here is my user ID and password. In my home directory, it has created a folder called Frappe bench. This will be the Frappe bench environment. You can see here, applications are there, sites are there, and if you see inside sites, there is no site right now created. But if you see in applications, one Frappe application will be by default installed, which is Frappe Desk, in fact, which is administration portal for the Frappe environment. And then there are some configuration and environment and logs. So these are 3 folders which you don't need to remove or which you don't need to modify. These are all the configuration here. Now it is right now creating the workspace here. If you see here folder, so it has this Frappe-bench as a folder. So we'll be going to Frappe-bench. Now inside bench, we'll be running the command. So we'll be first of all creating a new session here with the same. So we'll be going to bench directory here and we'll start the bench here. Type the command called bench space start, and it is starting now. And by default, this particular environment will be running on port 8000. I'll be now opening this in my web user interface. If you see here, nothing is found here. Web server is ready. Why it is not working? Because if you see, there is no site right now available. So we can create site and install various other applications into that. But I'll be installing ERP Next. I'll be creating a site, ERP Next, and then we'll be installing the application in ERP Next. To create a new site, we'll be using all the commands now inside the Frappe bench. So we'll create a new site here. We'll do bench space new-site and the site name. Site name will be erp.syncbrick.com and enter it here. Now it will ask to type the root password for the MySQL. So we'll be entering the root password. It is now installing the Frappe and it is creating the documents. Okay, so what will be the admin and password for the site? So I'll be typing the administrator password for the site here. If you refresh this, you will see here the new site is created, which is called erp.syncbricks.com, and all the relevant folders are also created here. We have created the site on the Frappe environment, but we have not yet installed the application. We have not yet talked about ERP Next. Now we'll be getting the ERP Next application from the Frappe Git, and we'll be cloning it. Once the application is downloaded to our apps folder, from the apps folder, we'll be installing that to our site. Now, in order to get the application, of course, there are 2 options. So we'll be installing version 13. If I type the command bench get-app and ERP Next, it will directly install ERP Next into my environment, the latest version. But I want to install version 13 using the extension here, branch version-13 and then ERP Next. It will get the ERP Next application. It will clone it into ERP Next. Now, if I take you to my WinSCP, and from here, if you see inside the apps, so refresh this, it will now get the ERP Next app here. So you can see here ERP Next app is being downloaded. Once the app is completely downloaded, then we'll be installing this app to our site. Now it is building the assets for ERP Next, and now we'll be installing this application on our ERP site. So to do that, we'll be going to bench and /site, and site will be erp.syncbricks.com. And then what we'll do install app, and what is the name of app? ERP Next. Now it will install the ERP Next to our site. This is not still our default site, so we need to set this as a default site. If I start the bench again, nothing is available here. So why it is not available? Because we need to tell the bench that bench use erp.syncbricks.com. So it will be changing the current site to erp.syncbricks.com. And now if I refresh this again, you can see here now we are able to log in to the Frappe bench, and ERP Next is installed already. So we'll be logging in with the password that we had set for ERP. So we'll be running the wizard here. And as you can see, it is right now running on port 8000. Now we'll be moving our installation to production environment. Let us see how we can do that. Sudo bench setup production, and with the username as extension. You will have all the modules and applications and tools installed automatically to secure your ERP Next production. So that is the reason it is very important to move to production environment. Now there are few more commands that will run to complete the setup in the production environment. If the supervisor is definitely installed, but we'll just make sure that it is installed. It is already installed here. We'll do bench setup supervisor. So it is already having the configuration. So we'll just changing the configuration. And this is the line that we'll be adding in the configuration. Just do this. And same we'll do for Nginx. Nginx is the web server, and again the configuration is already stored here. And as you can see, that site erp.syncbricks.com is assigned to port 80 now. Now bench is ready in the production environment. Let us reboot the server now. Reboot. Now if you see here, I'll be opening the website erp.syncbricks.com. And as you can see that SSL certificate is not configured here. Now we have already installed Frappe and it is on production environment. The final step to complete the setup is to install the SSL certificate. So for SSL certificate also I have provided the commands in the description below. First of all, sudo apt install snapd. We will be installing this package here. Okay, we will be using these commands to get the SSL certificate. Okay, now we will be moving to the bench directory here, so which will be frappe-bench. So we'll be installing the snapd, sudo apt install snapd. So it is saying that snapd is already the newest version. So this is the command here that we'll be using. Okay, now this has already installed, this package is installed. So we'll see remove certboard package here. So it is already installed. Install classic certboard. Snap install classic certboard. Now we'll be adding this path. Now we'll be running the certboard for Nginx. Now sudo certboard Nginx, enter here. Here is the email address. Do you agree the terms and conditions? Yes. Select the appropriate domain. So as I told you that I'll be installing it on erp.syncbricks.com. So I'll be typing 1 here. We'll wait for the certificate to be issued. Just wait for the communication to start. And you can see here that successfully deployed the certificate for erp.syncbricks.com. In order to renew the certificate, we will need to run this command here. So if I run this command here now, all submitted renewals were succeeded. This command we need to add this to cron tab. So if you edit cron tab space -e, so it will show you one cron job is running here. After every 6 hours, bench will take the auto backup. So we can also add SSL renewal. So this is what the configuration is all about. If I talk about the first one, it is for minute
second one is for hours, third one is for day of month, fourth is month, and okay, so we will be running this on 0 minute, 0 hour, first day of every month and every day of month. This is how it will work. So cert port will renew every month. This is what it is done now. Now if we see here our SSL certificate, so I'll be going to erp.syncbricks.com. Now you can see that SSL certificate is ready here and my site is ready. I'll be just logging into it. Here it is. So we can do the site configuration here. Go to settings, website settings, and we'll be just removing these pages for the time being. Login page will be Syncbricks and our app logo, upload. Then we'll be using the home page to login. Now if I open this again, erp.syncbricks.com. So this is how you have to configure everything. For Cronjob, I have provided you article here. Step by step, you will learn how to enable the cron jobs and how to disable the cron jobs. You can run the backups also. If I type bench backup, so it will automatically do the backup. Bench does automatically backup of your all websites every 6 hours. If you want to know the ERP Next pricing, of course, if you do everything by yourself, self-deployment, it is free of cost. If you want to have the Frappe cloud, you can pay to Frappe per site, it is $10. Otherwise, if you go with the recurring support and enterprise installation, so it will cost you differently. This was step-by-step ERP Next manual installation on Ubuntu Server. So in next video, we'll see all the tutorial. Please use the comment section below to provide me all the feedback and comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon, because when you press the bell icon, whenever I upload any video, you will be able to get the notification immediately.